Jared Diamond is here. He teaches geography at the University of California, Los Angeles. That's UCLA. In 1998, Diamond won the Pulitzer Prize for his book, Guns, Germs, and Steel. It explored how modern societies evolved. He has recently published a companion to the bestseller. It is called Collapse, How Societies Choose to Fail or Succeed. I am pleased to have him at this table for the first time. Tell me what it is you think. I mean, your book that won the Pulitzer Prize, Guns, Germs, and Steel, was one of the most successful science books in a long time. What does it say, other than your own talents as a writer and as about the public appetite to understand who we are and where we're going and what could happen to us?
In the case of Guns, Germs, and Steel, I think the reason that the public was turned on by it was that the book deals with perhaps the most obvious question about human history, why history unfolded differently for different peoples, why it is that Europeans conquered the New World instead of Native Americans conquering Europe, why Europeans brought slaves to the New World. And all of us are interested in these questions.
These are big questions.
They're big questions, and they're not answered by historians because they prove to be unexpectedly difficult. But we see the results, and we wonder what's the reason. Since we're not told the answer by historians, we suspect that maybe it has something to do with people's brains, because we can see that people have different faces. Maybe behind the different faces are different brains, although there's no evidence for it. But the book discusses what I think are the real reasons, the environmental reasons why Europeans...
You mean this book?
No, the previous book, Guns,
book. Okay,
Germs, and
because I
Steel.
know this is about how environment determines collapse, but go ahead.
Right. The previous book discussed environmental factors, particularly the availability of domesticable plants and animals. It happened that the Fertile Crescent of Western Asia was where the wild ancestors of what are still the most valuable crops and animals in the world live. That's where people domesticated cows and sheep and goats and wheat and peas. So people there got a head start on agriculture, which means they got a head start on metal tools and writings and states, and they and their descendants in Europe went on to conquer the world.
And now you turn to collapse.
The flip side of rises.
Was that an automatic decision by you? That I've looked at the evolution, I might as well look at the collapse?
No, it was really a different decision. I was interested in collapses of societies because ever since I was a teenager, I've been fascinated by photographs of Maya cities in the jungle. Why on earth did they build cities in the jungle, and then why did they abandon them? And I think most of us get interested in stories like the Maya and Easter Island. So it arose out of this romantic interest. And then I realized that there were bigger questions involved. Why did some societies fail while others succeeded? Japan has gone on 14,000 years without a collapse. And then today there are societies collapsing and at risk of collapsing. So what can we learn from...
Now, what's the best example of a society at risk of collapsing?
There are several dozen best examples.
Okay, give me...
Among them.
The top three.
Among them. Haiti, Solomon Islands, Somalia has already collapsed, Nepal, Afghanistan already.
What do you mean by society then? You don't mean a nation state by definition, you mean something else.
Yeah, but I would define collapse to be a drastic decrease in human numbers or in political, social, economic complexity over a large area.
So what does that mean for Afghanistan and Haiti and Somalia, that they're heading towards non-existence?
No, they're not. They're certainly not heading towards non-existence. In the case of Somalia and Haiti, it's not a population collapse. In the case of Somalia, there's already been a collapse of organized government. In Haiti, there's been a virtual collapse of government and a descent into worse and worse poverty.
Let me go back to the Mayans, only because that intrigues me. Why did they do it in the jungle, and why did they leave it?
Okay. They did it in the jungle because it turns out that the Yucatan Peninsula is a good place to build up a civilization if you're farmers. The Maya developed the most advanced society in the New World before Columbus. They had writing, they had wonderful astronomy, great art and monuments, and there were lots of them. There may have been as many as 50 million Mayas. They built up a civilization that rose steeply in numbers until about AD 800, and then it rather swiftly collapsed within about a century. So The kings were overthrown. Maybe as many as 90% of Maya people died off. They abandoned the cities.